Where do you think your favorite team's going to rank this season in the NBA? Whether that's in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, I'm going to be giving my predictions right after the intro. Okay, so first up, we're going to do the Eastern Conference, and we're based off of how we're going to rank it. We're going to basically go the top 6, so basically those are the teams that are going to lock into the playoffs first. Next up, we're going to do the play-in tournament, where it's basically seeds 7 through 10, and then the lottery teams, basically the teams that are 11 through 15, the teams that either have no chance to make the play-in tournament at all, or the playoffs in general, or the teams that are going to be borderline close to the play-in tournament, but the teams above them are just going to be slightly above them. But let's get going. And by the way, we're going to try to look back at this at the end of the year and see how close I did. So this is going to be very interesting to rank that later on and see in the future how well I did or how bad I did. So let's get started. First up, we have the New York Knicks. They're definitely going to be a top 6 team. And by the way, when I put the team on the left, that means they're going to be the number 1 seed, and then the team on the right is going to be like the number 6 seed. So it basically in order. The Knicks, I think, are going to by far be a top 6 team. They definitely, especially with how open the East is, with Tatum being out most, if not all of the season, this is a big chance for the Knicks to really take a big leap. And I'm really excited to see what they can do. Especially, I think Brunson's going to have a MVP type of year. Next up, we have the Atlanta Hawks. They had a great offseason, adding players like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Kristaps Porzingis, drafting Asa Newell. Also, Jalen Johnson is returning. We all know what Trae Young could do. Zachary Ricochet, I think, is going to have a big year 2 leap. I think this is going to be a top 6 team. They've built so well around Trae Young. This is their chance to really make some noise in the Eastern Conference, especially like I mentioned earlier with how wide open the Eastern Conference is this season. Next up, we have the Miami Heat. And this is just another play-in team. They've made the play-in the past 3 years and have beaten the Bulls the past 3 years in the play-in tournament. So I'm a little salty about that. I'm not going to lie. But no, I think the Heat will be the play-in team. I think they're a solid team. They're building solidly. I really like them drafting Yaki Chonis. I think that's a steal, especially I think pick number 20, pick 19 or 20. I can't remember what pick they did this draft, but Yaki Chonis is definitely a great pick. Khalil Ware, I think, is a great center that they drafted last year. And then obviously you have the key players like Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. They've got a solid squad. I think they're just missing that star player. It would have been real nice if they could have gotten Kevin Durant, but unfortunately the Rockets snagged that from them. But anyways, let's move on to the next team. I think the Hornets are going to be a lottery team. They're very underrated. And I think this Hornets team could actually be very surprising. And I'm really high on the Hornets, especially with their young core. I really like what they're building. But I think they're still a year or 2 away. In my opinion, they might have to get to the point to where they have to trade some of these younger guys and really try to get some stars on this team and some real veteran presence. So that's my thoughts on the Hornets. Next up, we have the Bucks. This is going to be an interesting team. I think they're going to be a play-in team for now. Okay, so hear me out for now. I might change this as time goes on, but in my opinion, losing Damian Lillard sucks because he was going to be out all year anyways. They got rid of him. They bring in Miles Turner, which I think is going to be a great addition to play alongside Giannis. But in my opinion, I just think there's a lot of question marks with this Bucks team and their depth. But let me know what you guys think down below. I know I have a lot of Bucks fans that watch these videos, so let me know what you guys think down below. And like I said, this is not set in stone. We might change it by the end. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on this. They're going to be a lottery team. They're a team that's unfortunately in a weird spot right now. I don't like adding Michael Porter Jr. They kind of had to do that just to get rid of Cam Johnson. They also got a first-round pick out of it, so it's not the worst. But they have a really nice young core. It's just they're really young. They're very raw. We're going to have to wait and see them develop before we can really determine how good they will be in the future. Next up, we have the Pacers, and I think this is a play-in team as well. I'm actually going to put the Heat under Milwaukee, and I'm going to put Milwaukee above Indiana. I think Milwaukee will be the team that'll be borderline top 6. They'll be seed 7. Who was I doing here? Indiana losing Halliburton. is a tough loss for them. But honestly, they still have a really good team with Siakam, Nemhard, Neesmith, and others. I really like their team. Unfortunately, with Halliburton being out all year, it's going to really slow them down. But in my opinion, I still think they have a great chance at being a pretty solid team and potentially still making the playoffs. Next up, we have the Philadelphia 76ers, and this is another interesting team. Another really interesting team that I think will probably be... Ooh, is this a play-in team? You know what? Hang on. We're going to skip the 76ers for now. We're going to get the rest of the top 6 done just so we can make it a little easier on myself, because I'm telling you, the Eastern Conference is so confusing right now. It's so wide open. It's not even funny. I think we're going to put... we definitely have to put Cleveland up there. I think the Knicks will be the number 1 seed. I think the Cavs will be close. Mark my words, Evan Mobley might have an MVP type of season. He has been playing great. He's looked good in the preseason games, especially against the Bulls. He's going to be very hard to guard. There's very few players in this league, in my opinion, that are going to be able to guard Evan Mobley. And Evan Mobley, we all know, is an excellent defender who's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year. So don't sleep on Evan Mobley and this Cleveland Cavaliers team. I personally made that mistake last year, and I'm not going to do it again this year. Next up, we definitely have to put the Magic in there. I think the Hawks are going to be better than the Magic. Call me crazy. But I think this Magic's team, they made a great move adding Desmond Bane in a huge blockbuster trade. I believe they traded away, from what I remember, 4 unprotected first-round picks, which was insane. But they definitely got better. They're trying to win now, and I could see it. They look like they've got a team that definitely could make some noise in the Eastern Conference. And then the other team I'm going to say is the Detroit Pistons, and I actually think they could be the number 3 seeds. Wait, we have 5 teams. So I need 1 more. But anyways, like with the Pistons, they're definitely going to be a good team. In my opinion, they're a team that I look at and go, Cade Cunningham could be an MVP candidate. They got Jaden Ivey back. I like Jalen Duren. I like Asar Thompson. They've got a really good young core, and I think this team's just going to keep on staying hungry, and they're going to be a very dangerous team going into this season. And I have no doubt that the Pistons will be a top 6 team. And then the other team, I'm going to put Philly. I'm going to put Philly just because Boston is hurt. That's why they're not up there. But Philly, if Joel Embiid could stay healthy, if Paul George can stay healthy, which are 2 big factors into this, if they both can stay healthy, this is a very solid team. Because they have Tyrese Maxey, who in my opinion, this might be a hot take, I think he's the best player on the Sixers. I think he's the player that they should build around, not Joel Embiid, just because Embiid's so unreliable when it comes to just staying healthy and just being able to be clutch in the playoffs. I think this Sixers team is a very interesting team. If they can stay healthy, they could be very solid. And I also really like their draft pick this year in VJ Edgecombe. Next up, we have the Celtics. I think they're going to be the final play-in team. And I honestly think they'll be right in the middle here, right below Milwaukee and Indiana, but above Miami. They're a team that if Tatum can come back towards the end of the season, they could really pick up some steam and some momentum. We've actually seen videos of Tatum dunking, so that's good to see. It's not very, he's not very mobile still yet, but he is dunking, so he's getting up there in the recovery. It's going to take him a while still, but that could be good for the Celtics. They traded away some key players in Porzingis and Drew Holiday, so those are definitely 2 big losses. They had to, though, especially with the salary cap situation. But I still think they're going to be a solid team. I just feel like they're going to have to make some moves this next offseason because I'm not really a big fan of their depth right now, but that's just me. Next up, we have the Wizards, and they're definitely going to be a lottery team as well. I really like their future as well. They have a lot of expiring contracts this upcoming season. I believe it's like $100 million in expiring contracts. So once this season's over, they're going to have a ton of money and a lot of money to spend on an offseason in 2026 where a lot of people are saying this free agency class could be really big. Even though I don't necessarily agree, I do think there's going to be some good players, but I think a lot of those players will probably get re-signed. But anyways, I do think that this Wizards team has a great future. I really like Trey Johnson. Alex Sarr is a good player. Koulibaly, Bub Carrington. They've got so many good, talented young players. They just have to get it all together and just continue to develop. and I think this is just going to be another development year for them. Then we have the Raptors, where I think they'll probably, them and the Bulls, I think are just going to be like interchangeable, in my opinion, in the lottery. I think they're both barely going to miss the play-in tournament. They're both going to be very mediocre teams, probably. I do like the Raptors situation where they added Brandon Ingram. They also have Scotty Barnes, who's the player that they're kind of building around. Emmanuel Quickley's a solid player. But overall, like, I do think that they are in a weird spot. I just don't like the way they've built their team personally, but that's just me. But anyways, that's going to be the end of the Eastern Conference rankings. Let me know what you guys think down below. Do you agree or disagree with my picks? And let's get on to the Western Conference. Okay, so we're on the Western Conference, where once again we're ranking it based off of the top 6, the play-in, and the lottery. So let's get right into it. First up, we have the Denver Nuggets, and I think this could be the best team in the NBA going into this season. I'm definitely going to put them in the top 6. They've made some great moves this offseason, trading away Michael Porter Jr., which I think was something that was very much needed. Adding Cam Johnson in that trade was awesome for them. Adding also Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jonas Valanciunas along with Bruce Brown in free agency was also great. And they're also getting Deron Holmes back, who they drafted last year. He was out all of last season due to an Achilles tear that he did in the summer league. So it's good to have him back. This Nuggets team, it feels like, are building really well around Jokic. I really like the Valanciunas addition just because he can play similarly to Jokic. He's not as good as Jokic, obviously, but he's just a player that can kind of emulate that offense that they're trying to build. David Adelman, their coach, this is his first full season as a head coach. I think he's going to be able to do some good things, and I think this Nuggets team is going to be very good this season. Next up, we have the Dallas Mavericks, where I also think this could be a top 6 team. They traded away Luka. It was a very controversial trade. They got Anthony Davis in return, who has had a lot of health concerns, especially since joining the Lakers, but also in Dallas, that's carried on. He hasn't been very healthy. But if he can stay healthy, if Kyrie can come back and be good to go, I think this team's going to be unreal. And you have the number 1 pick, one of the best prospects that we've seen in a while in Cooper Flagg. This team is exciting to me, and I think this Mavericks team is going to surprise a lot of people. Next up, we have the Golden State Warriors. For now, I'm going to put them in the play-in tournament. Don't judge me. I don't think this Warriors team made the greatest moves this offseason. They waited forever for the whole Kuminga situation to pan out. They had a ton of signings waiting, but they couldn't sign them before Kuminga just because Kuminga would have taken up some of the salary cap space. They had to make sure that they had enough. And now that they got Kuminga, the Kuminga situation somewhat settled, they finally got to sign players like Al Horford and Seth Curry. But in my opinion, I still think there's a lot of drama going on with this Warriors team, especially with Kuminga, because it seems like it's their plan to trade Kuminga this season, since they made a very trade-friendly contract for Kuminga and an option or a team option in the second year, so another team can really just extend him in the second year. This Warriors team just has a lot of drama going on, and I just don't know if they're going to be a top 6. They might at the end of this video. I might switch that up, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have the Rockets. I think they're going to be a top 6 team and actually above Dallas. Adding Kevin Durant is just an amazing move in my opinion. Jalen Green was kind of their main scorer last year, but it's just like Jalen Green's inconsistency was really holding him back. Adding Kevin Durant's going to add a consistent top dog type of scorer, and I really like that for them. I know Fred VanVleet is out for the season due to an ACL tear, which is a very unfortunate injury, but I think players like Reed Shepherd can really step up for them, as well as Amen Thompson. And in my opinion, this Rockets team is just so deep that losing Fred VanVleet sucks, but they still have a lot of options. Plus, they could go out into the trade market and get a player like maybe Kobe White or something that could really help their playoff chances. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Clippers, and I also think this could be a top 6 team. I might have to move the Mavericks down. We're getting very close already with the top 6. But this Clippers team also had a really good offseason, adding players like John Collins, Brook Lopez. They lost Norman Powell, but they added, Bradley Beal, Chris Paul. This team's old, but they're good still. I think this Clippers team, if healthy, could really make some noise in the Western Conference, like they did kind of towards the end of last season, but they had that unfortunate draw where they had to play against the Nuggets in the first round. So anyways, next up we have the Lakers. The Lakers are an interesting team because LeBron's going to be out for the first, I believe, 4 to 6 weeks. So he's going to miss the beginning of the season. They still have Luka. They added Jake LaRavia. They added DeAndre Ayton, which I don't think is the greatest moves. They're going to have to really rely on players like Connect to really develop, which I really like Connect, but I just don't know if he's in the best situation right now. If I were to do the Lakers, I'm going to move them up to the top 6 and probably move the Mavericks down. I don't know, man. Like, this is an interesting one. I don't know. We'll talk. We'll see if the Lakers can stay up there for now, but for now I'm going to keep them up there. Next up, we have the Grizzlies. They're going to be without a lot of players. Call me crazy. They're going to be in the lottery. And here's my reasoning. Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be out for a decent amount of time. Ja Morant's health has never been good. And they traded away Desmond Bane. I don't know. This Grizzlies team, I don't know if they're going to be as good as we think. I do like drafting Cedric Coward. I do like Zach Edey. But the problem with this Grizzlies team, in my opinion, is just their health. And that's going to be a big issue and a big factor going into this season. Next up, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they're going to be a top 6 team for sure. Anthony Edwards, in my opinion, could have an MVP season. I like them bringing back Julius Randle. I guess it's not really my favorite move, but it's kind of something they kind of had to do, especially to continue to stay competitive. I think Rob Dillingham and Terrence Shannon Jr. are going to make big leaps for them this year, and that could be a big factor into them becoming very successful this season. Next up, we have the New Orleans Pelicans, where this is another interesting team. I think they could be another lottery team. I know Zion's coming back, which, by the way, if you guys have not seen the new pictures of Zion, like, he looks skinny. We'll see if that carries on throughout the whole season, but man, he looks like he's in shape. This team could be very dangerous. DeJounte Murray's going to be out for at least the start of the season. They added players like Jordan Poole. I also like Trey Murphy, who they have, who could be a potential trade candidate. I just think this Pelicans team is just not built properly, if that makes sense. And I think they just have a lot of question marks that I'm not 100% positive that I can put them in the playoff situation as of now. Next up, we have the Thunder, and they'll for sure be in the top 6. I think they'll be below Denver this season. I think Denver will be better than them this season. The Thunder team is basically just running it back from last year, which is a great roster. But I don't know. Like, this Nuggets team, I'm just really high on them, and I think they could be a very good team. But I do think the Thunder will still be a dominant team in the league. Next up, we have the Phoenix Suns, who had a very interesting offseason. They got rid of both Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant, some very annoying contracts, and just a lot of drama. They added Jalen Green. I like drafting Kaman Malawach. They added Mark Williams in a trade. A very interesting team. I think they're going to be like top of the lottery. I think they're going to be borderline play-in. We'll see if that changes right now, but I really do think this Phoenix Suns team could make some good noise going into this upcoming season, and I think they're going to be criminally underrated. Next up, we have Portland, where I think they'll also be a lottery team. They had a really good offseason, adding Drew Holiday. They drafted Hans Kim. I mean, I really like what they're doing. I just think, they also added Damian Lillard. I can't forget that. He's not going to be playing this season, but it's still pretty cool. I think the Portland Trailblazers are heading in the right direction. I really like Denny Avdia. I just think the situation with Jeremy Grant, Robert Williams, they just have to make decisions on them. I think they should just trade them, get rid of them, move on from them, and let the young players play. I think Portland's 1 or 2 years away from being a legitimate playoff team, but I still think they have they need a little bit of time, especially with how the Western Conference, how good the Western Conference is right now. They're going to really need some good development before things happen for them in the future. I'm actually going to skip the Kings for now and put the Spurs, and I'm going to put the Jazz also as probably the worst team in the league. I really think Ace Bailey's going to have a great year, and he could be a Rookie of the Year candidate. But in my opinion, this Jazz team just still isn't very good. And it's kind of in the same situation as the Trailblazers. It's like they have good players. It's just they need to develop. And with the Western Conference being so good, they're kind of in a tough spot. I'm going to do the Spurs real quick. I think they're going to be a play-in team. Wemby hopefully can stay healthy all year. And if he can, he's probably going to win Defensive Player of the Year. Once Dylan Harper and De'Aaron Fox come to health, that's going to be good for them. They're going to miss the beginning of the season. It might be a slow start. They still have Stephon Castle, but I do think this Spurs team is going to make some noise. I think Devin Vassell, this is a big year for him, especially to really prove that he can be that kind of it factor on the team. But overall, that's going to be the Spurs. And then we have the Kings, where I'm not a big fan of how this is looking right now. I'm going to move Portland below New Orleans. I'm actually going to move Phoenix down a little bit. I think they're not going to be as good. And then I'm actually going to move Memphis up. No, I'm going to move Memphis back down, and then I'm going to put Sacramento in the play-in tournament. They have players like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, Domantas Sabonis, along with Malik Monk, who they're trying to still actively trade from what I know. So, based off of what this looks like right now, do I want to change anything? The Warriors were a pretty good team when Jimmy Butler got traded to Golden State. They added some depth. Do I want to put them in the top 6 or do I keep the Lakers? I'm going to keep the Lakers. I think the Lakers are still going to be... nope. We're moving Golden State up. I think the Lakers will be that team that'll be so close to the top 6, but I think the Warriors can do it. That's going to be my team. That's going to be it for the Western Conference. The top 6 is panning out to be the Nuggets, Thunder, Timberwolves, Rockets, Clippers, Warriors. The play-in is the Lakers, Mavericks, Spurs, Kings, and then the lottery is the Grizzlies, Pelicans, Suns, Trailblazers, and Jazz. Let me know what you guys think down below, and let's get right into the outro. That is going to be the end of podcast number 73 of Sports Talk with JWock. I appreciate all of you for tuning into this episode. I apologize if I was stuttering a lot this episode. I'm getting back into NBA talk, which has been a weird transition, especially since I've been doing NFL a lot recently. So I'm just trying to get back into the groove, trying to figure out things, but we're back into the NBA season. So I'm excited to keep talking about it. Check me out on all social media platforms so you don't miss any news or updates. Also, have you liked and subscribed the video? Make sure you do that before you click off of this video. If you'd like, you don't have to. But anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning into an amazing episode of Sports Talk with JWock. I hope you all have an amazing week. God bless.